a lot of coaches that I speak to are, number one, not using AI at all, or number two, using AI wrong. They're just using it to generate content, or they're using it like Google as a search engine. In this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can use AI to lighten your workload and to make your workflow a little bit better as an online coach, and to effectively get more time back to put into revenue generating activities in your business. So I'm going to talk you through a few tools that I use. They're not super expensive. I'm going to talk you through what I use each of these tools for and why. I am a relative AI beginner, but I have been down the rabbit hole, and I've been doing some pretty cool stuff that's really accessible to everyone. And you really need to get on this, because you'll see in a minute, but the stuff that we're now able to automate and take off our plate, if you're falling behind and you're doing all of that stuff manually, it is going to be very hard for you to keep up with people who are automating a lot of this stuff as well. So, even if you're not a techie person, you do need to actually get up to speed with this stuff, because you will get left behind pretty quickly. So yeah, let's head in. I'll open the laptop. I'll show you a little bit more. Also, before I do, just if you want to stay up to date on this stuff, click the link in my bio, because I don't actually know as much about AI as I would like. So I'm exploring it and learning it and implementing it every single day, and I'll be sharing a lot more of that journey as I go. Okay, so the first tool that I'm using is good old ChatGPT, and you're probably all already using this. However, a lot of coaches are using this really wrong, right? They're using ChatGPT to create content, and we all know that content created through AI, it's so easy to spot, right? It's not this, it's this, and there's these kind of long hyphens and funny emojis and like all of this stuff. It's so obviously AI generated content. So please, 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 if you were using ChatGPT to write your Instagram posts with the hashtags and all that at the bottom, just stop that right now. Because that is the surest way to not stand out and to blend in with all of the noise. Now, what I'm actually using ChatGPT for is really three things. One, as a brainstorming tool to kind of like organize my thoughts. Two, as a content creator for things like graphics, for workshops, thumbnails for YouTube videos, cover photos for things that I build, tools that I build. So I'm using it as a kind of creative partner, but I'm not outsourcing my content to it, if that makes sense. And then the final thing that I'm using it for is actually building tools that can help my clients to get better results. I'm going to show you all of these things now. So first and foremost, just in terms of, brainstorming something. So like, I'll show you one thing, for example, here in life. So I've got this thread, which is all around my flute practice balance and like balancing my practice, right? So like very random one here, but like one of the things I've been dealing with recently with my practice is just having slight injuries or slight pains in my thumb, which is probably a tendon thing. So, I've been discussing that, and I've been discussing like loads of different stuff. This thread goes back for hours and hours and hours. This thread is ongoing for like at least 8 or 9 months now, and we're speaking about all sorts of different things, and it's getting all of the kind of context for my playing. So that's just one example of how I'm using this in my life. And obviously you can use this for anything, right? If you're kind of brainstorming or you're getting better at a skill, you can kind of keep a log of things. I've got a log in here of my dog and all his health and vet stuff. I've got another log for like residencies and like, moving countries and all that kind of stuff. So I've got like these different threads that just help me to brainstorm and think out loud and organize my thoughts. Second thing is I'm using it for creation. So let me show you my old thumbnails, right? These were my old thumbnails. Pretty shit, let's be honest. But coming into ChatGPT, I can now start to generate much stronger thumbnails than what I had before, right? So ChatGPT is actually really good. Now, there's probably image generation tools that are better than this, but I'm just used to using ChatGPT. So for creating AI thumbnails, which actually still look really good. I mean, like, it's pretty hard to know the difference between the AI and the original. They're really, really not that different at all.
And this one is like, this is AI, but this is literally the original photo. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I'm not even really able to tell the difference between which one is real and which one is not. Um, so again, get some good prompts, use it to create your thumbnails, use it to create graphics. I'm going to show you the next thing that I use ChatGPT for is actually building resources to get my clients better results. Okay, so you might have heard of custom GPTs. If you go into your ChatGPT, you'll be able to find custom GPTs and you can actually build GPTs. So a GPT is just like one focused thread and it's trained on a certain amount of data, right? So like I have an offer launcher process, right, that my clients use. It's a 10-day process to basically sell out any offer in 10 days, right? And get like 5 high ticket clients in 10 days. And there's a process, there's content that they should be posting, there's 5 different post types, there's different days they should post different things, there's different start and end dates that they need to have, there's scarcity, there's urgency, there's everything that goes into a proper offer and launch is in this 10-day process. But it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours of content, right, for them to go through and actually implement. What this allows me to do is I can actually take all of that content, all of the documents, and I can feed them into something like this, right? So like, let me show you ChatGPT. Okay, so this should open up. Yeah, I can basically build out this GPT and I can put this entire doc in here if it's going to let me open the doc. No, it's not going to let me open the doc. Let me just do instant offer launcher. I'll show you the doc. Okay, so here's the instant offer launcher doc. I can put that doc into ChatGPT and I can give it some instructions, and it is going to put the entire process of the offer launch into this GPT, which is basically trained on everything in here. And my clients simply come along, they plug into this GPT. This is taking a second to load, but it'll load in a second. I'm in a room with not great Wi-Fi because there's a bit of building going on at the front, so there's some noise. But this GPT is trained only on everything that is in this doc, and it will only give feedback and information based on what it's trained on. So there's a ton more in this. It's just wait here we go. Right. So like there's the preparation of the launch, there's the preparation of the offer doc, there's the preparation of the content. Within this, like there's different post types, there's examples, there's templates. I mean, there's 26 pages just on the content for a launch. All the kind of psychology behind it, the messaging, the hand raisers, the leads, all of that stuff. Like absolutely everything is in here, but it's about 2 hours worth of content and training. So if I was to just throw that at my clients, it's very helpful. And I mean, up until now, honestly, it's been very helpful. They've been using it. But now that we have the ability to actually turn this into a GPT, my clients can come along here. They can click into this GPT and they can just say, plan my 10-day launch now. And the instant offer launcher GPT is going to walk them through that entire process. It's going to do it all for them. They literally just have to voice note into the GPT. It's going to plan the whole launch for them. And then it's going to act as an accountability partner throughout the launch. So like, that's what I'm using ChatGPT for. It's to create more value, create better resources, better tools for my clients so they get better results. And also I'm showing my clients how to create GPTs for themselves so that they can then do the same thing for their clients. So I've even got a GPT here called the Custom GPT Builder, which shows coaches, it doesn't show, it actually just builds the GPT for them. So if you're like, but I don't know how to build a GPT, you can just take this and it will build any GPT for you. So let's say you're a fitness coach and you've got ebooks full of information, right? You've got macro guides, calorie guides, meal timing guides, supplement guides, eating out guides. That's just so much stuff for your clients to consume. You could turn that all into a little GPT that lives in their pocket. It's basically like a coach in their pocket. And they can just consult that all of the time instead of getting like, if they start a GPT thread, they'll just get very generic information because the ChatGPT is pulling from all the information sources versus from your information. So those are the 3 ways I'm using ChatGPT. First way is to just brainstorm and, organize my thoughts. Second way is to basically create images and graphics and things like that. And then the third way and the most important way is actually creating valuable tools and resources that my clients can utilize to get more out of what they do. So let's go to the next tool. I have to keep an eye on my battery. 7%. Let's go. Let's go. Challenge accepted. 7%. I'll try and keep this relatively short. I'll have to. Okay, Claude. Where is Claude? Here is Claude. So next tool that I'm going to show you is Claude. And by the way, these are like $20 each per month, right? So they're not like massive expenses. Now, Claude is a very cool one because Claude is basically what I use for all of the automations. So we've got a thing called Claude Cowork. You've got a chat, just like ChatGPT. You've got code, which I honestly haven't really gone down the rabbit hole with yet. But Cowork is where you can actually automate a lot of the non-revenue generating tasks in your business. So let me actually just stop this share and see if I can share my entire screen. Entire screen share. You should be able to see my entire screen. Okay, cool. So I've got a few different scheduled tasks that are automated. They set up, they run at a scheduled time. One is content mining, one is daily briefing, one is desktop cleanup, one is downloads cleanup. So just to show you, right, these are like things that need to be done. Like these are my downloads. This is my desktop. If you're an online coach and you're creating content, your desktop probably looks something like this. Bit chaotic all over the place. Your downloads probably also look something like this, where you've got a bunch of different things in your downloads, and it's just all over the place. So what's going to happen is if we come along to Claude, we set up a little task, let's say desktop cleanup. This is automated to run at 11 a.m. each day, so it's going to run soon, but I can click run now, and that's actually going to go and clean up my entire desktop. At the same time, I'm going to do the downloads cleanup and run. I'm clicking run just to show you, but this is going to run automatically every single day, right? So like it's every single day at 11 o'clock, it's going to tidy up my computer. Now that just means that my computer never gets messy. And that's a small thing, but if you're somebody like me who tends to, do a lot of work and not be very organized with your stuff, that's massive, right? Like just to have, it's like having an assistant just cleaning up after you all of the time. And that's like a very basic thing that you can set up, right? Like the desktop cleanup is in progress. The downloads cleanup is in progress. It's running at the moment, so you can see here it's working on it. It probably just takes, it shows you the progress. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's pretty quick to do. So, we'll come back and check in on this. This was 10:18. This is still running, right? So these are both running. I've also got tasks such as a daily briefing. Okay, so like at the start of every day, this will come along, Claude. It'll check my calendar and my emails, and it'll summarize everything. So I don't actually have to go into my emails and get distracted. I will just open Claude and my day is going to be summarized here, right? So Wednesday, 25th of March, here's what's happening. Today's theme, sales and coaching, good. I've got one coaching call in there with my client Isa, and then the rest of the day is basically my own time, right? So like it's got all of that, and then also it's going to have I'll show you like just some other examples of different days of like what's going on. Let's say 16th of March, not sure what happened on this day. This was like two important emails, right? There's a VSL lead and a meeting with my client, Alan. So it's kind of like pulling the most important things from my email inbox, so I don't have to go and check my emails. And it's just kind of giving me like next steps here as well. So it's like, here's your inbox. Here's your highest leverage slot today. Here's your inbox, hot new VSL lead. Funnel recap with my client Alan. Again, funnel needs 100 leads to validate. VSL target 20%. So it's pulling all of this data, and it's just giving me like an overview of what's happening and my priority actions to take off the back of that as well. I can also do this for content mining. So every day it will go and it will read through all of my emails and all of my call summaries, which I'm going to show you next. And it'll come up with content ideas that are actually relevant for my audience. So we'll come back to this in a second, but basically, and this is like a very basic setup. You can do way, way, way more complex automations than this, but these are just basic things that I don't have to worry about anymore, right? Like these downloads and desktop are just forever clean. We'll come back and, oh, error, great. Why have we got an error? Something went wrong, try again. Okay, so perfect. The ones, this has never not worked before, so you can literally, like it works. It has worked every day for the last week since I've set it up. But for some reason today, maybe because I'm on the call, it's not. It's there's an error. But usually this just works, as it should. So yesterday, it came along. there was 8 loose screenshots. It tidied it up. It moved them all to screenshots. It organizes my invoices and all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, anyway, Claude for basic automations, basic organization, and more complex stuff, by the way. I'm just going down the rabbit hole now, but if you just think like I've got a list of tasks that I do all the time, and if I do something more than once, I should just create an automation in Claude to do it. Again, it's not for like content and stuff that's, because your content is your brand that speaks to people, but all the monotonous, non-revenue generating activities in the business, you can get something like Claude to go and automate all of that. And then the final one that I think every coach should be using, and I will come back to this, is Fathom. Okay, so Fathom AI, which is basically a call summary AI. It basically summarizes all of my calls. You'll see going back, every single client call that I take goes in here, gets summarized. It's just got a bunch of, it's got a bunch of context from like all of my client calls. And then I'll take an individual call here as well, myself and Seamus. It'll give us like really, really detailed takeaways and topics of what we covered. Also, the offer structure that we covered in the call, the sales process that we covered in the call, next steps for Owen, next steps for Seamus. What's really cool is it's going to email me this immediately after the call, and then my Claude can go and read all my emails. So it can pull all of the data from Fathom and from all of my calls, and it's keeping up to date with everything that's happening in my world. So this is just like feeding information into Claude, and this again is like 20 euros a month or $20 a month. So like between those three things, I can automate a ton of my monotonous tasks. I can make my creation a lot faster. I can generate tools and resources from my clients, and of course I can just stay on track with things as well. And this is a really nice thing to be able to send to a client after a call, where I don't have to take all the notes. They don't have to take all the notes. This is all going to be sent straight over. And then there's going to be, questions as well. Like we can go through all of the questions that we discussed. And again, these are all content ideas. Like every question, every question that Seamus asks on this call, that's a content idea, right, for my ideal client as well. So that is how I am using AI. I am going way down the rabbit hole. I consider myself to be right at the beginning of this journey. Like I said, if you want to stay up to speed on this, if you want to see me sharing more of what I'm learning, you can click the link in my bio, and I'll see you next time.